Hello, Sirus from Sirus Gaming Spot here, and welcome to Sirus Gaming Corner, a gaming podcast where I, a Surface 1390, talk about all various gaming topics. From old games to new games, everything is fair game. So how's your evening thus far, Sword?
Going good. Always good to be back on.
And for today's topic, it's actually asked by Retrolands Boy, which is a pretty frequent viewer of the channel. And he asked a while back if we could do a podcast episode on PS3 JRPGs, since we already did that one for the PS2 and 360. I think we did one on PS2, right? I think so.
I don't think
I think
so.
I think so. Yeah, we did.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked about Shadow Hearts, Star Ocean, Tales.
Oh, right.
Persona. It was like way back. Like
Yeah,
I think the Xbox 360 one was our first Sirus Gaming Corner episode.
That was the very first one. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess it would make sense to talk about the PS3 JRPGs, or just RPGs in general. What are your thoughts on the PS3 as a JRPG machine, you think? I have some thoughts on
honestly... Okay, interesting. I'm curious. I gotta say, I don't think it's as strong as the PS2 library, personally.
Nothing is as strong as the PS2 library, okay?
Yeah, that one's peak. That's not even a fair comparison.
Yeah. PS2 console was just churning out JRPGs over and over again. There was a lot of good JRPGs, some not so good, but you know.
They experimented for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of I feel like that was one of the more experimental generations for the genre. But so overall, yeah, definitely not as good. But I actually think that there's a lot of bangers on the PS3.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into them as we go, but I think it's actually pretty solid.
Well, I will say this: during the first few years, it was dry for JRPGs.
Yeah, it started off slow. For sure.
It basically started out with nothing. I think for the first few years, the only actual JRPG that you could play on the system was Final Fantasy 13 or something. Because that Final Fantasy 13 came out 2009 in Japan. Yeah.
And before that, I think we had White Knight Chronicles.
Yeah.
It was slim pickings for sure.
And then slowly and surely there were more RPGs that was coming to the system. Mostly, I think the most interesting part of these RPGs coming from the 360 versions, because there was quite a few of them, was that they were expanded ports of these titles that was released previously on the Xbox 360.
Like Star Ocean, yeah.
You got Star Ocean 4, which has some pretty quality of life changes. The game, Japanese voice acting, the portrait changes to being a more anime style rather than the creepy, the 3D style you see.
Yeah.
Character. And then you got Eternal Sonata.
All eyes.
I think Eternal Sonata is really interesting, at least in terms when you compare the 360 difficulty to the PS3 difficulty. Because
I do remember from what I played, the PS3 one was a lot more brutal in comparison.
Yeah. From what I've seen, you didn't need the blocking was nice, but it wasn't, I would say, necessary. Blocking in the PS3 version of Eternal Sonata is a necessity if you want to actually play through the game. At least
it's not optional.
Yeah, it's not optional. I think the big expanded port that came to the PS3. Sadly, it never came out into the West until way later on. And I think you know which game I'm talking about, but it was Tales of Vesperia.
Yeah, oh, that took a long time for us to get.
Yeah, but it is interesting when you see when it was released in Japan. Tales of Vesperia PS3 had a lot more content compared to the 360, which was already saying a lot since the 360 version by itself had a lot of content already as well.
Yeah, it was a really meaty game for sure.
Like Tales of Vesperia PS3 introduced Patty as a character, being a new character that joins the party throughout the main story. Flynn is made an actual playable character rather than a temporary party member. You got a bunch of text that was introduced into the PS3 version of the game, like manual canceling. And overall is a very expanded game. You got like also new skits and yada yada. It was a really big expanded port of the base Vesperia. It's pretty much like the Persona extended port edition, which is saying something since they do a lot despite it being less, you know, popular to do it nowadays. I will say like the base version and the extended port version of the Persona games are differ enough that you do have a different experience when you do play through them.
Right. Another 360 game that came to PS3 eventually was actually Enchanted Arms. I don't know if you got that. If you know that I got a PS3 port.
Yeah, I got a PS3 port as well.
There's probably more. There might be more that I don't know.
Yeah, but there was I think I'm not sure if it was expand port, but I think it was also released on the PS3, which was what was that shooting game again? You know, Tri-Ace?
Residence of Fate.
Yeah, Residence of Fate. I haven't played Residence of Fate, so I don't have much opinion on it.
Okay, yeah, it's something.
It's something. You played through
really,
it, right? You played through it, right?
No, I didn't beat it, but I got like towards like the tail end of it, like really close, and I got stuck, and I got to a boss and I could not beat it, and I was like, fuck this game.
I guess we should talk about other games that we talked about. We just talked about them being on the 360 and then being ported, and then talking about their changes. But I guess we should talk about the game itself. Now, Eternal Sonata, I haven't beaten the game. I think I got for halfway through it. I think the way how it integrates its combat system is interesting with the light and dark system, you know, with how your skills changes depending if you do them in the dark areas or the light areas, which was really cool, I think.
Yeah, that was a unique system. I thought it was good.
Yeah. I can't remember much of the story. I just remember it's dealing with like how the entire world is like. Which musician is?
It's like
which musician is this game's based on main character?
Frederick Chopin.
Yeah, like
Frederick Chopin or Chopin.
Yeah. That's the whole entire world is basically his dream state, dream world.
Yeah, like it's like his dying dream because he's on his deathbed and he's just like having this very visceral dream. And it's cool. I do like the fact that the game goes out of its way to have like it's got like a very strong music motif. Like a lot of the characters are named after various musical terms, and so are the locations. And yeah, I liked it. Like, you know, especially like because I'm a musician, so I recognize most of these, like all these names. So it was pretty cool.
Star Ocean 4. I will say this Star Ocean 4 probably has my favorite combat system out of the 3D Star Ocean games that I played.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I think like what's the running system where you circle back around them called again? I forgot what it's called.
Blindside.
Yeah, I think the blindside mechanic was really cool. I think all the characters were pretty cool to play as well.
Yeah.
And I also really like how it's probably the only Star Ocean game where you actually travel the stars, you know, in a meaningful way.
Yeah, like okay, look, here's the thing. Say whatever you want about the story of the game itself, but like the one thing I can give it over like literally every other Star Ocean game is that it actually feels like you're exploring a Star Ocean. Like every single other game, like, I don't know why, it's like Trice missed the point of their own franchise. They all take place on like fucking European primitive planets, and they got like little bits of sci-fi sprinkled in there, and it's like, it feels like a traditional RPG with some, you know,
I feel like the latest Star Ocean game, I feel like the latest Star Ocean game kind of tried to rectify this, because you do travel to a bit of more planets near the end of the game, but that's like near the end of the game, you know.
Yeah, like Star Ocean 4, like throughout the entire game, you're hopping from planet to planet. You do go into, like, you start off on a jungle planet, like kind of like in the, like, almost like the Jurassic period or something. Yeah. Then you go to like a alternate version of like 1930s Earth. That was super cool. Like the vistas and the locations are it's great. It's great, and I think that's like something that this game has over every other Star Ocean. I really like that.
The characters, though.
Oh God.
The characters, I feel, either are bland or really annoying.
Yeah.
Like, Sarah is really one of the few Airhead characters that's really annoying to me. As well as Lemo.
Yeah. Them two, and also Miracle is another character
I don't have much problems with Airheads. Like, I think Grun is from Legendia is always Airhead before she gets her memories, but I think she was still charming in Legendia.
I like her character.
It's not charming in the Star Ocean 4. It's really annoying.
But like the thing about Sarah is that she is only there to just be goofy. Her entire thing, like, it could be the most serious scene. It could be like the most pivotal moment, and she's in the back acting like a goof and just like taking me out of the moment. Like that. Same thing with Limo, Kay. I'm in the scene, Kay. Like,
I feel like they don't really add much to the story after they join in the party members, and even I think them joining is very nebulous too. So, you know. Yeah.
Like, it feels very like shoehorned. They feel very shoehorned into the party. Like, they don't really have anything to do after their like initial introduction.
And the voice acting in Star Wars 4 is like they have really good voice actors in it. The voice direction, I don't know, man. It's all over the place, and makes the voice acting in the game to be kinda hard to go through.
But, like, how do you take fucking Matt Mercer, Laura Bailey, Travis Willingham, whoever else, and make them sound like it's their first day? How do you do that? If anything, I'm impressed. That's impressive. How do you take like star-studded voice actors and make them sound like they have no idea what they're doing? It's amazing.
Now, as for Vesperia, we already talked about Vesperia before, so
we went into some pretty.
Give a couple notes. I think the cast is great. I think the visual style is great. The combat system is also really good. Probably one of the best 3D combat system, especially in that Team Symphonia style, you know. A lot of content, even though a lot of its content is also missable because it has some bullshit timing requirements for you to backtrack a lot for no reason.
It's kind of a guide. It's kind of a guide game in certain aspects.
And overall, I think Vesperia is a great game. It is certainly in my top 5, top 8 Tales games. And I probably I don't probably love it as much as some more diehard Tales of fans. I especially don't think it's only one of the 3 good Tales games ever. Because if you're one of the Tales fans who believe the Holy Trinity shit.
Those fans are the ones that are kind of like the most annoying.
But I do think Tales of Vesperia is a very good and quality title within the series.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's now talk about games that actually at least came out on the PS3 first or right at the same time, if they were multi-console, if it was a multi-platform release. Okay.
Yeah.
First is Final Fantasy 13. Oh boy.
To say this is the most polarizing game in the series is an understatement.
Yeah. We already did an episode on it, but that was a long time ago, so you know. I would say Final Fantasy 13 biggest problem is that for 60 to 70% of the game, it feels like you're playing through a very gated tutorial with how it handles gating its own content, you know.
Yeah, it is slow to like introduce like a lot of things for sure.
People always like one main problem. One of the problems people have with Final Fantasy 13 is apparently the linearity. I don't mind that it's linear. I mind how it gatekeeps your mechanics until you get to Grand Pulse, because until you get to Grand Pulse, can't even choose the main character you want. Your Crystalium is very gated and very linear, so you may as well just have a linear leveling system at that point. And the roles you can even use for the paradigm system is very limited too, and as well as the map being linear as well. So you're like all these factors combining together makes it a very 50 to 70% of the game to feel like a giant tutorial, which is very problematic, I think.
Yeah, that is like, as someone who is like as a defender of the game, that like there's definitely certain design choices that are kind of puzzling, and I do think that the game like being so restrictive is a problem for sure. Like I cannot think of a single reason of why you can't just choose your party members, like your party leader, who's their party composition. Like there's no reason that I can think of for that. And yeah, I also don't mind the linearity, honestly. Like because the thing is, that game came out at a time when open worlds were dominating the market, and it like, as someone who's just like, I hate doing like checklist activities and walking around barren spaces. And when you have a game like this that just like cuts the fat and just gets to the point, like that's one where like I honestly like kind of found it refreshing. Like, it's just a game that just doesn't like mess around. It just gets right to the point. And like I can understand why the level design is problematic for some people. Me personally, I'm not bothered by it. And yeah, like that's one thing where I just like really like don't care. But that is a big sticking point for a lot of people.
People's other problem is might be the story, because it is very confusing at first, with how they just throw out terms that you don't really understand at first. But I will say I do like the premise in that your party members are like on the run, with them separating, and then you throughout the game going through each of these characters' mini story arcs throughout the game until they converge at the end. I think that was interesting when I played through it.
Yeah, like you have these like smaller character moments, and I think that's where the game's like story really shines, is in these individual arcs and interactions, and then like kind of like learning their histories, learning about like their goals and motivations, and then having it like come together into a climactic, end, I guess. It definitely like pays off. Like, I think the game does well with its like having the party like kind of it actually really reminded me of like Final Fantasy VI, where you have like a handful of smaller groups of party members, and most of the game up until like chapter 9 or 10, I want to say, is like this. And I think it actually like works to the game's benefit, at least in a story sense.
But yeah, I think like overall, Final Fantasy 13, it's probably not my favorite Final Fantasy game, but I at least liked it enough to play through it and not regret buying it,
Yeah, like a lot of the hatred for it is like people like fucking seething, like it's like the worst game like on the planet, to the point where I'm like, okay, like I definitely understand why it might not jive with people for sure, but like it's got it's got merits for sure. That I think like I don't think the game gets enough credit for the things that it does well. And like when you like really like take the time to look at it, there are things about it to like.
Another good game to talk about is after Vesperia, we were waiting quite a bit of time for the next Tales game to come out in the West, you know.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Until we got into the 3 Tales game we got on the PS3 in a relatively short time. Now that you compare it, you know, to like nowadays where we're like we don't even got like an announcement for the next mainline yet, and like it's been like how many years since Arise?
At least like 3 or 4 now?
Yeah, 3 or 4. But yeah,
something like that.
Talk about Tales of Grace's Elf, Tales of Xillia, and Tales of Xillia 2. I think like the series especially got its like popular, a more popular point in that in the PS3 era around Xillia and Xillia 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Tales of Grace's Elf, we already talked about it last year a bit, I think, when we did the mega long video on the games we played in 2025.
Right, yeah, we did a fairly deep dive into it.
But overall, like, Cliff Notes, I think the story, while not like the best of the series, I think it's charming enough. The characters are very extremely likable and charming, and they have really good skits with and character relations within each other. I think it's neat how they did the childhood arc and how the events of the childhood arc affect Asbel, Xillia, and Hubert towards the main arc, and how the relationship changed due to what happens in the childhood arc, and how that causes conflict and how they resolve that conflict. The combat is still one of the best combat systems in the series, and I think the post game is also really, really good in the game. Like the Zone Cage is a really cool post game dungeon, especially now that I've played through a lot of the mainline Tales post game dungeons. Yeah,
the Zone Cage was a lot of fun. I don't think I finished it, but I did get a pretty knee deep into it. It's very intimidating. There's a lot.
Xillia and Xillia 2.
As games individually and put together, I think the Xillia games are really good.
Yeah. I would say Xillia and Xillia 2 has probably my favorite world out of all the Tales games that I played. At least in terms of lore, you know?
Yeah, you know what? That's always something I've thought about over the years, and I honestly think like the world of Xillia has so many like mechanics to it. It's very extensive. There's a lot of like it's got like a lot of terminology. There's a lot of like science behind the fantastical elements that I really think was interesting, and yeah, like the world and lore of Xillia is like really fascinating. I really enjoyed learning about it as I went, because like there's so many layers to all the different mechanics and facets of the world that it was just really interesting to learn about.
And gameplay wise, I do think Xillia was interesting in terms of being a game combat system that tried to combine both Team Symphonia and Team Destiny combat ideas together in the form of its own unique resource management system. So like it tried to just combine TP and CC into the AC system, where the amount of moves you can do is dependent on the amount of AC you have, which really encourages you to experiment at how you want to chain your moves together, but also as well as limiting how much moves you can do with TP still being in the game.
Yeah, I think it finds that good balance because because like in Graces, it didn't have the TP at all. It had the CC system, and when you used up all your CC, you had to like wait a few seconds for it to fully recharge. Whereas in Xillia,
it worked in Graces because Like there's a lot more emphasis on its defensive mechanics, with you also having to be careful not to overextend yourself or you just die in that game. Why there's not really much focus on the defensive side of things in Xillia. In Xillia 2 is a very much an offensive game.
Yeah, it's more in line with like a more of a traditional Tales game, and I think like because in Xillia, like AC, like 1 point of AC is 1 attack. Like each art you do, each attack costs 1 AC. So you can do as many arts and attacks as you have AC, but the game balances it by having the TP system back. So you can't just like spam willy-nilly. So I think it finds that good balance of having elements of graces with like kind of like an Abyss or Symphonia type battle system.
I think the combat especially meets its strides in Xillia 2, which probably has my favorite 3D Tales game combat system right up there with Grace's F.
Yeah, it basically took the foundation of Xillia and just expanded on it and pretty much perfected it.
Yeah, like you have a really cool Dante style character in the form of Luger, and almost every character that returns has much more expanded shit they can do with the arts they have now. And some characters just feel more complete in Xillia 2 compared to Xillia 1. Like if you compare Leia, Xillia 1 counterpart to Xillia 2.
Yeah, I did dabble into some of the other characters a little bit, but I think Luger was like his like the possibilities with him are endless to the point where I always end up just towards him because like you could just pull off the sickest combos if you like take the time to like really learn.
I think what's really interesting about the Xillia era is like this is the game where they introduced, well, I guess Grace's F as well. Well, I think Xillia and Xillia 2 is really the area, the game where they introduce character abilities that differentiate them even more rather than just their arts. You know, because like.
Yeah. Oh, were you talking about like the link abilities, like those?
Yeah,
when
like the link abilities, like with Mila. Like if you link with Mila, she can like sometimes stop an enemy dead on its tracks if it's moving really fast. Jude, if you get knocked down, he'll be able to pick you up. Leia will be able to steal items from enemies if you knock them down, which is really useful for some boss fights. Rowan will be able to provide you with magic guard status if you link with him, which makes him really useful against fighting against magic enemies. Alvin can guard break enemy if you link with him and the enemy is guarding. And Elise can steal TP from an enemy, which makes her really cool character to link with if you're running low on TP. I think this is really era of games where they really experimented of giving characters more unique abilities outside of mostly their art list, you know? And you can see this going forward toward future games. Vesperia, especially with the breakthrough abilities, and with Arise, with how each character got their own unique style. What's their ability called?
What are they called, like boost or something?
Yeah, the boost strikes or boost attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a really cool mechanic to add into future games. I think it started around Xillia 2 and Grace's F with how the Excel ability is introduced in the future arc.
Yeah, actually I didn't think about that. Yeah, that is when about the Xillia era and the Graces that is when they did start to have recurring theme of like character specific abilities. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that is true. That seems to be kind of like a thing they've been running with, and I really like that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, Xillia 2 are really great games. I think so.
They're some of my favorites.
Yeah, I thought like Grace's Xillia 2 it was part of the era where Tales was on the up and up. I think it was into his hysteria where it brought it down a bit, but you know.
I also think the Xillia games have like really interesting stories too.
Yeah.
Like they're definitely darker than like Graces, which came like right before it, and especially Xillia 2. Like Xillia 2 is like a very emotional game too. Like it definitely like tugs the heartstrings. So I think that's another like strong suit that they have.
Like I think out of all of the games that came out around this area, I do think Xillians do have the better stories compared to Grace's Elf and Vesperia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another game to come out during the PS3 era is Persona 5. Doesn't
that was on PS3, wasn't it? I forgot about that.
Doesn't this make you feel old now?
Oh my god, I can't believe...
Because Persona 6 still isn't out! Or even announced! Or like, I don't know if it's announced, but we still don't have a teaser for Persona 6. So...
There has been no official announcement or copy. It is still a fucking question mark. And I made this joke, and I low-key kind of, like, think it's true. I stand by, until further notice, I stand by the fact that Metaphor was actually Persona 6 in disguise. I stand by. Until I hear anything else, I am dying on that hill. Metaphor is Persona 6.
But, yeah, Persona 5 came out during the PS3 era, you know? So, yeah.
I forgot all about that. Man, that's great. No, that does make me feel old. Holy shit. I remember seeing the trailer for Persona 5, like the Japanese trailer, and I almost shit my pants when I saw it because I couldn't believe what I was looking at. And I was, oh my god, I was like 22 when I saw that. I was like, damn. And then now Persona 5 is a decade old now. Holy shit.
So like Persona 5, I think it's a really good game as well. Good JRPG. It certainly expands on the ideas from Persona 3 and 4, you know?
Yeah.
And it has some really cool combat additions, like with the technical attack, which lets status effects be much more useful now. Like actual status effects, and not just like buffing your attack, your stats in battle.
Yeah, like what is it? Like if you inflict a certain status ailment on an enemy, it'll become susceptible to an element that it's normally not.
Yeah.
Like if you hit an enemy with like if an enemy is burned, I think at that point they can be knocked down with like wind. I want to say, and then like it actually gives you more incentive to use.
That like if you attack them with certain elements, like they will do more damage, which is which is a big boost compared to just normally hitting them, which is really cool, and which is really cool when you face an enemy that doesn't have an elemental weakness.
Yeah, that definitely helps. It's definitely a nice addition that like adds to your tactics.
And the Persona 5 also added the confidant abilities, which is a really cool idea, which makes the social link building system to feel even more engaging and rewarding. Since like before you only like get more EXP for fusion, which was really cool, but it didn't felt all encompassing throughout the entire gameplay loop. But now you get these really nifty abilities that will help you, whether it be in your other social life aspect or in the combat aspect. One of the confident abilities you can get is like party switching in battle. That's really big. Yeah. And overall, I think Persona 5 is a well-crafted game. That expands what Persona 3 and 4 introduced with their style of RPG.
Yeah, it's basically like pretty much the perfect incarnation of that system that Persona 3 introduced, and like it's pretty much like reached its peak. Like I feel like they've done everything they can with this format at this point, and if and when Persona 6 becomes a thing, I'm honestly wondering if they might, if they want to take it into another direction and do something a little different, or if they might just keep the same format. I guess time will tell.
Have any other PS3 games you want to talk about?
Nier. Nier counts, right? That's an RPG. Okay. I feel like it's got at least enough RPG elements in it.
Yeah. So Nier is interesting because when we got it in the West, we got Father Nier as the protagonist. Why?
We got good old Papa Nier.
Why Japan has Brother Nier,
And let's just say they're very different characters. It's not just an aesthetic thing, because we did get the pseudo remake remaster Nier Replicant on PS4 with Brother Nier, and it's not just for show. They actually are pretty different.
I will say, having played through Replicant, it is very apparent which one was the intended protagonist. And which one?
Yeah, some lines are a little strange in a with Papa Nier.
Like in the time skip, it makes more sense to be Brother Nier. So it's like like in the time skip, he actually is grown and can actually use other heavier weapons, like the lance and the claymore. Why Papa Nier? It's like why did you use these weapons before, man? You know?
Right.
And like it is like character model change as well, which does make the passage of time to be much more tangible in the Brother Nier version compared to the Papa Nier version, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But that's
there are definitely a lot of.
I do think like the father and daughter relationship was still interesting when I first played through Nier, though.
Yeah, and honestly, I this might be controversial. I don't know, but I honestly really like the dialogue and the interactions with Papa Nier compared with the other characters compared to Brother Nier. Like, I really like how Kaine is more willing to like fuck around with Father Nier a little bit and just kind of like take some playful low jabs at him. Whereas in Nier Replicant, like she's like very like she's much warmer to Brother Nier, like more like almost like big sister, which is also very nice and endearing. But I don't know, I really and I think Father Nier's like banter with Grimoire Vice is a lot more entertaining too. Like Father Nier is a lot more gruff around the edges. Like he's not afraid to like speak his mind, and I don't know. Maybe it's because that's the one I played first. I really couldn't say, but like even though I definitely can't deny that there are aspects about Nier where it's clearly meant to be like Brother Nier, like it's clearly what was intended. But I think Father Nier has a lot going for him, and he's like I find him very enjoyable still.
Yeah, I think like the most interesting part of Nier, both the Nier and Nier Replicant, is probably the multiple playthroughs when you get additional context, which makes original like these scenes you already experienced before have a totally different feeling. Like you have totally different feelings on them now coming into it.
Yeah. And what the funny thing about Nier at the end of the day is like when I first saw like the announcement for it and I saw some trailers and some gameplay footage, I like this came out when I was like,
I thought it was going to be a gameplay first and story second situation, but it's the inverse. I thought it was inverse.
I thought it was going to be a very generic, bland, forgettable hack and slash. That's all I thought. And then like you said, like a gameplay second game. It is a story and character first game, and it's like a fucking gut wrenching game. It's like just like breaks your heart, and the gameplay is like serviceable at best. It's fine, but like. I think it's the powerful story is why Nier garnered such a cult following to the point where it spawned a very successful sequel. Like, Nier is one of those games where I don't think anybody saw it coming. I don't think anybody expected Nier to be like what it was, and it came out of nowhere. And like it's got a lot of warts and flaws, but I love it still. And with a haunting soundtrack, absolutely stunning.
Speaking of Nier, I guess we should talk about the other Yoko Taro game that was released on the PS3. That being Drakengard 3.
Oh man. Oh.
I know you have thoughts on that game.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Let me just say this. I haven't touched it in a long time, so I wonder if I would feel the same way now as I did back then, but yeah, I kind of fucking hate this game.
It is a certainly vulgar and crass game when you get down to it.
And the thing is, like, it's not even necessarily
with a lot of fourth wall breaking.
Yeah, like I'm not even opposed to crass humor. Like I'm not a prude or anything. It's the fact that like that's like the gag of the whole game.
Yeah.
Like I feel like every scene is some kind of like sexual innuendo, or like all the guys want to fuck Zero so bad, and there's just like all kinds of like dick jokes and this and that, and it gets to a point where it starts to just like it's funny the first couple times, but when the game just like runs with it and it's just like and it just gets to a point where it's I got sick of it after a while. And
yeah, Drakengard 3 is certainly a game made by Yoko Taro.
Yeah, he definitely experimented. I'll give him that. Like I was saying before, like I kind of like Zero as a character, sort of. She kind of came off as like sort of a discount version of Kaine, but I liked her enough, I guess. Outside of her, I hated all the characters, especially that old guy, whatever the fuck his name was.
I think
I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
I think it starts with
Octa or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And like having this man who looks like he's like in his 60s, like trying to fuck a woman who's, I want to say, in her late 20s, is so weird. It's so creepy. Like, oh my god. And that's his whole shtick. His whole shtick is that he wants to bang Zero, who's like probably 35, 40 years younger than he is. But so yeah, it's
you know what's funny?
It's something.
You know what's funny? I think it's the same voice actor for Rowan as well.
Oh god, no.
I think it's Todd Havercorn.
Todd Havercorn.
Let me check. Let's see.
Oh, that poor guy. I feel so bad for him.
Let's see. Yeah, it is Todd Havercorn.
Oh man, I feel so bad for the guy.
I just find it funny how he also he voices Rowan, who's also an older gentleman, was much more classy, but you know. Yeah, very, very fine line there. I guess the dragon was kind of endearing. Yeah.
Like the fact that he was like a child. I thought, okay, I give him. I give some props there to him. Okay, so I got pretty far. I got up to the point where I had to get all of the weapons to get the true ending, and I couldn't unlock it. And I was just getting so fed up with doing these side quests.
So you never even experienced the final boss then?
No, and honestly, I was very curious about it because I want to know if it's as infamous as people say. But I got to a point where I'm like,
let me just tell you, it is as bad as you heard. Because, to the point where people have released guide videos on you having to sync your game to the video in order to get through it.
Oh my god. Okay, alright, you know what? That tells me everything I need to know. But, yeah, that was my thing where I was like, you know what? Because it got to a point where I was, forcing myself so much. And when I had this, gigantic brick wall preventing me, because the game has the fucking gall to make me sit through and go through these tedious, side missions just to see the fucking ending. And I'm like, fuck this game. And I just never went back to it.
To be fair, Drakengard 3 isn't the first time the game get you to get all the weapons in order to get, an ending. I think, the other Drakengard game was like that, too.
I never played them.
Oh, okay. I think, Nier was like that as well.
So, actually, sort of. So, so you have to get all the weapons on your third playthrough specifically.
Yeah.
Which is not as bad because, at that point, you've seen everything the story has to offer up to that point. And, because at that point, endings like C and D, the only thing that's different is the ending. It's not, everything else up to that point is the same. So, I don't... It's not nearly as egregious in Nier compared to, Drakengard 3, at least I don't think so, just because, you don't have that gate that blocks you from seeing, on a first playthrough or second playthrough. I kind of like the sound. I like the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was good.
Okay.
Not as good as Nier, but it was good.
Yeah. But yeah, Drakengard 3 is a game. I got them. I did a review on it a long time ago, but but yeah, from what I remembered, I think it was a flawed title, but at least it was an interesting one. And compared to Nier, I do think the multiple routes change up enough mechanically that it does make them at least feel a lot different to play through. Why Nier? Nier, sure. You're still playing through the same game. You're just having a different context to certain scenes that'll elicit a different type of reaction out of you, which is the intended effect. But you're still playing through the same game again,
Yeah, but I do think that added context makes it worth going through for sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying that Drakengard 3, actual events does change when you're going from Route A to Route B to Route C and so on and so on.
Yeah, totally. Drakengard 3 it's a game. I will say,
especially compared to Nier Automata, going from Route A to B, which is basically the same game, except you're going one you're playing 2B and the other you're playing 9S, which I don't think, when you really get down to it, I don't think that's different enough to really incentivize people to play through it.
Yeah, that was definitely a sour spot of Nier Automata specifically.
Yeah.
There weren't enough differences in Route B to really justify having an entirely second playthrough.
Yeah,
to get to the next part.
That is required for Route C because things actually progress after Route B.
Yeah.
So
But Route B, the differences are so minor to the point where you might as well just have it so that you hop between perspectives, when 2B and 9S separate.
Yeah.
At that point, it's because having the Route B is so redundant, and you don't really learn that much pivotal information that you couldn't just learn on Route A.
I mean, Route B does have very foreshadowing moments for 9S's relationship to 2B about what he really thinks.
Yeah.
Especially that conversation with, was it Adam? Or
I think Adam. I think it was Adam.
Yeah. I do think Nier Automata could have at least changed up Route B a bit more, so it doesn't feel like you're just playing for the same thing again.
Yeah.
I don't think the extra context when you're playing through it the first time is as good as playing through Nier Route B,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. So, but that's a whole different can of worms.
Yeah.
I think the second playthrough concept was definitely handled very well in Nier specifically, the first one.
Yeah, I think in Drakengard 3, they do change it up enough that it does feel like a new route rather than just playing through the game again with extra context. This shit is different in B route and C route. Some of the routes is way worse what happens in A route.
Yeah, and I will give Drakengard 3 credit. It did have moments in the later routes that did actually grab me. I'll give it.
Yeah, in B, C, or D route, shit gets really, really depressing and shit, man.
Yeah, and it was to a point where I'm seeing these actually unironically good parts. I'm God damn, I wish the game was more consistent and had moments like these, because I'm damn, now I'm actually it's actually starting to sink its teeth into me a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then you get to that gigantic brick wall and I'm yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Let's see, moving on. You say you play White Knight Chronicles, right?
A bit, not too much, and that was when it came out. I remember thinking my thoughts at the time was, it is a very, very bland, generic, pseudo MMO RPG. Mm-hmm. I have nothing to say about it.
Did you ever try the online aspect of it?
A little, and I mean, okay. it wasn't that much different from the base game, honestly. Mm-hmm. I just kind of stuck with the base game. I got a little ways into it, and I was so bored. I was so forcing myself to go through it, and it wasn't worth it.
I will say, White Knight Chronicles probably have a protagonist so like create a character that he might as well not be there for most of the game, at least for White Knight Chronicles 1.
Yes, like I don't understand what the point of that was. Why do you gotta have a fucking your human avatar they're only gonna use for online play as a character in the game and who does nothing?
Yeah.
Nothing. It's not even the main character.
Yeah.
The fuck? What?
You ever play Dragon's Crown?
No, I know of it, but I never played it.
Okay. Yeah.
You've played Dragon Age Origins, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I played it multiple times.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a great game. That's
Yeah.
probably my favorite of the BioWare games that I played. I played a lot of them. And Dragon Age Origins is just like, it's a dark fantasy RPG. It's got like great world building, amazing characters.
I think the most interesting part of it is like how it handles origin mechanic, kind of, because like for when you start the game, you're like, when you're creating a character, the game will give you an option to change, to choose what type of origin you want, like a human noble, human commoner, dwarf noble, dwarf castless, elf city origin, or elf, typical elf one. And like what's interesting with the origins is that characters will comment on your origin when you play through the game, and it just
it actually feels substantial.
Yeah. And there are like certain plot points that you can only experience depending on what origin you you picked, which is really cool, I think.
Yeah, because goes without saying that it obviously does incentivize multiple playthroughs, which I did do it. I played the game twice. I played a male human my first playthrough, and I played a female elf my second playthrough, and the origin story was vastly different. And then there were definitely other aspects of the story later on where it's like, I did not see this on my first playthrough. And I think like the origin story doesn't feel like a gimmick. It doesn't feel like a little quirk. It feels like it's actually like substantial, and I that is such a unique thing. I really like that.
Yeah. And overall, I think like Dragon Age Origins overall has some really great writing with its characters, and with its characters especially, I think.
Yeah, I think that's where Dragon Age Origins really like is at its best, is with the characters. Like this is like one of the best cast of characters I can like in quite a while. Like I enjoyed learning about every single one of them. They're so multifaceted. Like I could spend hours just talking to them and learning their history. And I like the fact that they have unique dialogue with each other when you're walking around the overworld. They'll have banter, like depending on your party composition. And it adds some like personality, kind of adds some chemistry to the group, and like the character writing and dialogue is just excellent in this game. Have you ever played Folklore?
Is that an RPG?
I mean, it has leveling, like.
I guess. I played Folklore before. I played it way like when it first came out, and that is one of the few games that I actually didn't mind using the 6-axis control because it was designed for that.
Yeah, it's a perfect implementation of it. It's not intrusive or in your face, and I actually really like it.
It's also one of the game that I'm not sure how you're supposed to emulate, because how do you emulate the 6-axis stuff,
It's pretty much impossible, unfortunately, and a game will never see the light of day again. Sadly, I'm just happy I still have it in my library. But I think that game that game has an atmosphere. That it's so haunting.
Yeah, it has like a really cool murder mystery type of story to it. I think like the atmosphere in the town, especially in the Fae world, is really cool. Yeah,
and seeing how like the stories of the two like kind of like collide and intersect is really cool. I really like you said, like I really like the fact that the game is like a supernatural murder mystery. Like I actually enjoyed trying to figure things out and like piecing it together. The game gives you clues and foreshadowing, and it's executed really well, and I really like it. And I think for the time that it came out, the game looks stunning. Honestly,
I think the way how it handles combat was really interesting. With the way how you capture like other folk like creatures. It felt like a very creature collector type of game. You like getting all these different abilities from these creatures that you use, and I like how depending on the character, they use their the same type of creatures differently, which really made playing through both of the stories to still feel unique, which was cool.
Yeah, and they fight a little differently, and also some of them have like unique enemies to themselves too, in certain like in different areas too. So that's another thing too that helps. And they also have their own gimmick. Like I think Ellen has her cloaks that can give her like various buffs and like effects, and I think Keats has sort of like a Devil Trigger-esque kind of mechanic. I think. So that's pretty neat. So yeah, it's a hidden gem. I really wish.
Like it's a game that
see the light of day again.
Yeah, it's a game that you can't really replicate now.
Yeah.
If you still had a PS3, it might be worth it just to get Folklore and play through that game. You know.
Yeah, it's definitely worth your time. It's a gem. I really enjoyed it. I think
I remember.
more people should play.
Like you might be able to replicate control using gyro, but you know, it's kind of hard.
Yeah. That might be the closest way to do it, but unfortunately, that's
I think that's all the PS3 JRPGs I can think of off the top of my head.
I'm kind of like I'm glancing at my shelf here, and I'm trying to see if there's anything we haven't talked about. I guess Yakuza's not really much of a JRPG series, is it? It's more of like a beat 'em up with RPG elements.
Yeah.
Oh, Ninokuni?
Oh yeah, I forgot about Ninokuni. Have you played for Ninokuni?
Not all the way through. I played a lot of it, but this was back when it came out, so my memory of it is pretty foggy.
Okay. I would say for most of the game, I think it's a very charming game. But you do really feel when like you know how Ninokuni was originally like, I don't know, a DS game or something like that.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
You can certainly feel the game expanding beyond its ending when you get to the PS3 exclusive content, because it really does feel tacked on. You know,
I heard it was like kind of like slapped together. Like it's like a new story arc or something like that. Kind of like from my understanding, kind of like how like Tales of Grace's F did with the future arc, although obviously the future arc is clearly.
I think the future arc is way better. It's integrated much better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I just mean in terms of like implementation, like in the sense that it's like a new kind of like story content that wasn't in the base game. But yeah, obviously, future arc is, I'm sure, is infinitely better.
You know, like for having the Wrath of the White Witch tagline in the PS3 expanded PS3 version of Ninokuni, that part feels very tacked on compared to the game building up to its main antagonist, which was Shadar.
Yeah.
I think like another interesting part about Ninokuni was using its like spell system, with you having to use certain spells on the world map or on citizens in order to get to do certain stuff to progress through the either the game or a quest, you know. I think it's really especially interesting because if you bought like the PS3 collector's edition, you get the book, this huge ass book that tells you all about different like lore and stories within Ninokuni, which was really cool. So I got that because just this shit, I got that book. So yeah, it's especially cool for me.
Yeah.
Now when I played for it, I wasn't so gung ho about the combat system, you know.
Yeah, that one's. I do remember that being a bit of an adjustment for me.
Yeah.
At the time.
Like, I think the creature collector aspect was cool. I just wasn't like so gung ho about how it mixed its turn-based and action mechanics together. I thought the way how it's handled kind of diminished the strength of both. It felt very off to me when I played through it.
Yeah, it's like this weird mishmash. Like I feel like it wants to be both turn-based and action, but it can't commit, so it like kind of fails at both a little bit.
Even that factor, I still enjoy my time with Ninokuni. It's just that I probably didn't like it as much as other hardcore JRPG fans, you know?
Yeah. I know. I feel like that game is very like beloved from what I remember, and I like I said, my memory is so foggy. I'd have to go back and play through it all the way through. But I remember thinking at the time it was a very charming and heartwarming game, and I did think that the creature collecting was pretty addicting. I also remember really liking the soundtrack. I remember the soundtrack being like very symphonic, and it had obviously like it has that very like Studio Ghibli tone to it.
I think it was the same composer, right? Who did the Studio Ghibli movies?
Yeah, well, not just the soundtrack, but like in general, like the whole game as a whole was very
Studio Ghibli-esque. Which was cool and it's probably a selling point. I think it does sell that aspect of the game really well. Like, if nothing else, Ninokuni does feel like a Studio Ghibli movie in game format. Even if
I think that's a really cool thing.
Even if Miyazaki doesn't like video games that much.
Really?
That's what I've heard. Or he just or he doesn't like technology all that much, or something like that. You know.
Okay.
You know, boomer stuff. You know.
Yeah, boomer logic. Did you ever play the second game?
No, I only played through like the intro parts, where the main protagonist was Santo, and then he traveled to the Ninokuni world. He got younger, like he was like a middle-aged man. Now he's like someone in the 20s or something. And it's really funny because like he still had his gun on him in the Ninokuni world, and he used that against some enemies.
That's pretty funny, actually.
And then eventually Dad got him to use a sword because he didn't brought that many bullets with him, you know. So yeah. Apparently, I heard that people don't like Ninokuni 2 as much as Ninokuni 1. So you know.
That's what I heard. I heard it was that was much more like divisive, I think.
I can't think of any other PS3 JRPG.
I haven't played. I can think of one more. I haven't played it all the way through myself, but I'm curious. Have you ever played Time and Eternity?
No, I've heard of it.
Okay, don't. It's not worth your time.
I heard that it was supposed to be like it's supposed like the tagline was supposed to feel like a 2D anime in game format.
And yeah, it is that, but everything is executed so terribly. I tried to play that game twice, and both times I dropped it at like the 5-hour mark, as I was like, this is awful, this is bad, and I gave it 2 shots, and I'm like, yeah, you're not getting the third try from me.
Good boy.
Other than that, I mean, like I'm just going off the ones that I specifically play. Like I know there's more outside the scope of what I have played, but those are all the ones I can think of that I've played through.
Okay. I think that's all for today's video. Thank you for coming, Sword.
Yeah, glad to be back.
Yeah. And this is Sirus signing off.
Peace out.